When it comes to a person who is emotionally unavailable, because when someone is emotionally unavailable, it has a look, right? It looks like something based on a person's actions and their behaviors. And it's really important to be aware and be mindful of how that actually shows up. And so I want to give you a few things on what an emotionally unavailable person looks like in a relationship. Okay. One of the things it can look like is inconsistent communication. Okay, it can look like inconsistent communication, that hot and cold behavior where you get mixed signals. One minute, they seem to be all into you, they seem to be invested in you. And then the next minute, it can be the opposite, where they actually pull away. So they have that pull and push tactic when it comes to you. And what this also does is that you feel left to guess when they're going to talk to you, right? Because the message that they give is actually mixed. And this pattern of inconsistent communication is very unreliable and it's very unpredictable. And this leads to a unhealthy communicative behavior. Emotionally unavailability can also look like avoiding beneath the surface conversations. Okay. And the reason why this is important to pay attention to is because on the surface of things, you actually may get along pretty well. You may enjoy each other's company when the dynamic is playful and the topics are general, meaning that these topics don't really require closeness. It doesn't require intimacy. It doesn't require a level of depth. It doesn't require meaning or even vulnerability. And so if they don't have to expose themselves like that, they're very content. And so the conversation can go pretty good when it's about other people, friends, plans to go out, sports, the weather, the news, basically any form of conversation that avoids deeper and more personal topics. So anything that challenges them to go deeper may cause them to actually shut down. Emotional unavailability can also look like displaying defensiveness. Okay, that's another one. As I mentioned, emotional unavailable people, they avoid beneath the surface conversations. And when you want to engage in closeness and intimacy, that involves going deeper. It involves asking questions beyond the surface. And what that does for the emotional unavailable person is that it causes them to react defensively, where they may become very argumentative. They may withdraw. They may develop irritability. They may start to become very rude and even display anger. And they also may blame you and others for their problems. And this is an act of self-denial where the emotional unavailable person, lacks the awareness and the accountability to acknowledge their own emotional barriers. And this display of defensiveness will create distance and disconnect over time. All right. Emotional unavailability can also look like lack of empathy. When people are emotionally unavailable, they lack the ability to connect and understand someone else's feelings. Their ability to relate to you, put themselves in your shoes, and consider your feelings may be extremely limited. And what this does for the other person is that it causes the other person to feel unsupported and misunderstood because of the lack of emotional validation and capability that the emotional unavailability person lacks. Because this actually causes them to be unable to identify and honor your needs. And over time, this deprives the other person of the compassion that they seek from them. Emotional unavailability can also look like a one-sided relationship, okay, where no intentional effort on their end is there to grow and further the relationship. So for the other person, they may find themselves doing all the heavy lifting, right? So they may find themselves adjusting, compromising, making the effort to want to fix things, to talk, to work things out. And when you have someone who isn't available like that, they don't make an attempt to display any form of reciprocity and mutualism in the relationship because they lack the emotional capacity to understand that a relationship really is a shared responsibility.